So I'm experimenting with how this phone works. I just got it, a few months ago. So maybe that's my wife. That's not her car. It's a similar car. Actually, that's a Chevy, so she drives a Dodge. This is a Chevy. You know why I drive a Chevy? Because it says in Posik, but B'nechem Nesecha Yilchu b'Chevy. So anyway, we were discussing Balfour Declaration. So I thought maybe if I could record while I'm on the phone, it didn't work. So on the John Batchelor show, they were talking about Balfour Declaration, and they said, this is that one thing that they mentioned. And so they said, when England took over, when the Ottoman Empire, they lost in World War One, what we now call World War One. They were, whoever there was, and then and they said, Turkey, they lost all of this place, and now all of these countries that exist in the Middle East, they exist only because of England, freeing them essentially from Turkey, from the Ottomans. So, all these countries that exist today, Saudi Arabia, and Iran, and Iraq, and maybe not Iran, but Iran was still Persia. But whatever it was, Jordan and Syria and Lebanon, all these countries. That's how they developed. Whatever it was. But the other thing they said about Balfour was that the Balfour Declaration, it gave for the Jews to have this homeland, but it didn't take away the rights of the indigenous people, and also it didn't take away the rights of the Jews in other countries. Which sounds like a progressive, forward-thinking, modern approach, more or less. Now, I read an article in the Forward, and it was a Jewish fellow writing. It was a pro-Palestinian Jewish fellow, and just because I'm an anti-Zionist doesn't mean I'm really pro-Palestinian. And I don't even really say that I'm really anti-Zionist. I'm just open to critique and question Zionism. And I'd like to have all the different views equally examined for people to try to understand. But I in some ways more comfortable with a religious Zionist than I am with some of these secular anti-Zionists, and to a certain extent, although the things he was saying were essentially correct, and I think they're worth examining. Even if you disagree, they're worth discussing and examining. And so he was making a claim that Lord Balfour was a white supremacist. He specifically used that term, and that was and he was no friend of the Jews. There's a Rabbi Balfour Brickner. I know he's a conservative rabbi or something. Like his father, named him Balfour after Lord Balfour. That was his last name. He gave him his first name. It's a little weird. But the point I was saying with the Balfour Declaration, it's like this. essentially, and this is an issue with Zionism in general, it's that basically, Zionism and anti-Semitism go hand in hand in many ways. This has been well established, it's well known. Originally, Hitler supported Zionism. He just wanted to get the Jews out of Germany, go let them have their own country, and get them out of here. The story goes, and Bibi Netanyahu brought this up a few months ago, or last year or something like that, and I remember Jay Ibsen used to talk about this also, was that the whole idea of the Holocaust didn't come really from Hitler, but came from the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, of Al-Quds, is that how they talk of it, and that is what brought about the Holocaust, because originally Hitler wanted to deport the Jews to Eretz Israel, to what was then Palestine, and since the Mufti didn't want it, the Mufti suggested, no, just kill them. I don't want to give the Mufti that much credit. I don't know if it's it doesn't seem to be that true, but whatever. So these are the things, but on one hand it's possible to say that, but on the other hand, what we could say from that is that really it's Zionism that, if that's true in a sense, because before the Zionist movement, Jews and Muslims lived in peace. It was only really after Herzl that things started to go bad. And so essentially we could show that Zionism was the political cause of the Holocaust, if that's true, that the Mufti was the one who gave Hitler the idea of what Hitler horribly called the final solution. So that's one aspect of it, but it's, in essence, these type of movements, Balfour, what I understand, did not want Jews in England. This is what's claimed in this article, was that there were that Balfour was pushing that Jews should not be welcome in England, and so that's why he didn't want to kill them, so that's why he wanted to send them away to Palestine, to another country, get them out of England. It's possible, but I don't know. It's hard to say, what's really true here and what's really not. I don't know. What would you think? So on one hand, it's seeming like we're saying the Balfour Declaration is open-minded and it's not to get rid of the Jews, and on the other hand, this other article is claiming that it is, and that it's really, a lot of people will say, even in a modern day, a lot of the modern day more white supremacists and so forth tend to be supportive of Zionism as a means to get rid of the Jews, get them out of wherever they're living, and send them to some other place, get them, keep them far away. I don't know. There is an aspect of that. It's possible. So I don't know. What kind of discussions do people think about this? Is Zionism when years ago the UN, they said Zionism is racism, and then they said that in the 70s. They took it back and forth, the whole argument. But the question is saying, well, we don't want Jews here. Get out of here. Go move to Israel. Get the hell out of here. Is that a reason why there's a tremendous support for Zionism? I don't think, to be honest, that most of the Christian Zionists have that approach. I don't believe so. I believe most of the Christian Zionists really love the Bible, love God, and they want to see fulfillment of biblical prophecy. And they also want to reap the blessings mentioned in Genesis. So, last week's Parsha in Lech Lecha. So, is that possible? Is that, there's two sides to all of this. It's hard to really say. So, maybe yes, maybe no. I'm not quite certain. So these are things just to think about. I'm not saying anything's absolutely true or not. All right. Well, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment, and let's talk more about these questions. All right. Take care.